I sincerely apologize for the audio in this video. I forgot to hit record.
Oh, well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another gear raffle and review. Today we're going to talk about Black Diamonds Cosmo headlamp. So, let's get right into it. Alright there, guys. The Black Diamond Cosmo headlamp. Black Diamond has got so many different varieties of headlamps. It can be confusing to, what you need for your particular trip, or, is this enough lumens? Is that enough lumens? So, hopefully by going over this headlamp, not only will I give you some information on their headlamps, but also information enough for you to choose, what level of headlamp you might need. To start off, some of the patrons are probably wondering, I think the Gizmo was the headlamp that I was going to review, and I actually lost the link and couldn't remember, so I got the Cosmo, and it's actually a little bit of an upgrade, but REI's running a little sale on them. They're like a $20 headlamp. So starting off, out of the box, I mean, they're a great headlamp, good all-purpose, and for $20, you really can't beat it for price compared to, what else you can get for $20. When choosing a headlamp, there's always that option to go to, your superstore, your Walmart or whatever, and buy yourself like a Coleman headlamp for $15 or $10 even, or maybe even cheaper. But there's a lot of things to consider. I would never recommend anybody going to that point when for $20, Black Diamond, these guys, they make great gear and they make very good hiking gear. This headlamp has got features that you're not going to find in that $15 Coleman headlamp. Quickly, guys, I'm going to go over how to run your headlamp, your Black Diamond. I've seen so many people out there that don't even realize that it has different functions than on and off. So really quick, one push is your bright beam, a double click is your lower beam, a push and hold will bring up your red beam. Now that red beam will go on and off every time you click until you push and hold again. Now it'll change it back to your bright beam, a double click, and get you back. You stupid! That's a triple click. 1, 2, 3, flashing. And then finally, if you hold it, it'll come on red, continue to hold it, and boom. Now it's locked. All it gives you is that little flash. Now if it's in your pack, it will not kick on. Won't drain your battery dead if it tries to. Hold it for 6 more seconds. I don't remember how many it is, but hold it, keep holding, boom. Now we're back on. And those are the functions for most of the Black Diamonds, and they're actually pretty consistent through all of their models. But I know so many people I've seen have a Black Diamond headlamp and don't even realize all of the functions. Some of the features you're going to find in these hiking headlamps and stuff that are a little bit different is, they do allow for some adjustability. Let me get a little closer. Which, for just walking and stuff, no big deal. But when you're at camp, to be able to bring this down so that you can point it at your food when you're eating it is pretty convenient. So, you're able to adjust it a little bit. Now, one con to that is I do feel like if you got this caught somewhere, you could break this off. So that's one con to it being adjustable, but, that's something that doesn't come with some of your cheaper ones. Different beams. You have a very bright beam. I'm going to try not to shine this in the camera. Or if I double click it, I can get just a lighter, like a duller beam. Now the first one here, just to give you some specs, is 90 lumens. They've got headlamps all the way up to like 250 lumens. I can get into a little bit about that. In my opinion, I don't think it's that crucial. I used a Black Diamond, a Spot that was like 10, 12 years old on my thru hike, and for the most part it worked so inefficiently with the batteries that my headlamp was mostly dead. Like the beam was not very bright, like the whole trip. Really all you need is a little bit of light. I would suggest don't worry about going out there and getting this huge spotlight, 250 lumens, when 90, in my opinion, is plenty. Now, I like to do some night hiking, so You know, with that in mind, I don't like a headlamp that's super, super bright because it'll take away most of, you know, your night vision that you may have. You know, you can actually hike through the woods just at moonlight. And if you've got this 250 boom lumens, that it is just going to blind you. If you shut it off, you're just going to see black. So I kind of don't care to have something that's super, super bright. I think 90's not bad. Went off trail a little bit right there. But being able to adjust that to a lower light is very nice. And then it also has a red light. Now this is something that you're not going to get for the most part with like your Coleman and stuff like that, or your $5, $10 headlamps. And the red light is super, super convenient. Let me tell you what, if you are going to be hiking like this, a lot of these videos and people watching are, you know, preparing for through hikes. If you're going to be on a through hike, you're going to want a red light. Not only does it save your night vision, it also saves everybody else that's going to be in this shelter. There's nothing worse than sleeping and then seeing this huge beam of light flashing through the shelter as you're trying to fall asleep, or getting you in the eyes and stuff. It's just like common courtesy, and you'd be surprised how well that red light will just illuminate enough stuff for you to be able to see where you're going, for you to be able to see what's in your pack without really bothering everybody else that is also trying to sleep. You know, another good thing about this headlamp is it's fairly light compared to some, because some, you know, of your higher lumens, your 250 lumen headlamps and stuff, they require more battery power. This is just 3 AAA batteries, and it's advertised on the website for 3.2 ounces is the weight of this. Now, a lot of times companies will give you the weight and they won't include the weight once you put the batteries in it. And it has to have the batteries in it to run, so that should be included in the weight. I put this up on my scale and bing, 3.2 ounces with the batteries in it. So that's awesome. There are some lighter headlamps out there, but for what this does, 3.2 ounces is very nice weight for this headlamp. Some more info about headlamps, and these are just my opinions like all of these videos are. When buying a headlamp, I got this one specifically, and I know whoever's going to win this in this raffle is going to love me for it. Get a bright color that stands out. Don't get a black headlamp. I know that for some reason I think they look cool too, but get a nice bright one. When you're searching through your gear for your headlamp, you're not wearing it, which means it could be dark out. Flashy, bright colors are going to be much easier to find in your gear than a black headlamp that's just going to blend into everything. Nice, bright colors, for sure. Another thing to consider, and I've seen some of them coming out now, and they're rechargeable headlamps. In my opinion, I would stay away from rechargeable headlamps. I would stick to headlamps that use batteries, because if you're on the trail and for some reason you don't have any way of charging it, like you've been charging your headlamp in towns and stuff like that, if it goes dead, you're kind of, well, you're up that creek, if you know what I'm talking about. With batteries, you could always have a couple spare batteries with you. I carried 3 spare batteries the entire time on the AT. So if worst case scenario, I can always put new batteries in my headlamp. Speaking of batteries, the one downside to the way that the Black Diamonds headlamps work and the way the batteries go in is that it is a little bit difficult to actually get this open. Once you get it open, it's not too bad, but it's kind of difficult. And if you don't have a fingernail, or if your fingernails aren't very strong, you might need something to pop that open. Really, that's not that big of a con, because it's almost a good thing. But if you have to change the batteries, your fingers are cold, that may be a little bit of a challenge. Another thing to consider with this model in particular, and I think they offer one, see, if you don't get it closed right too, you kind of have to watch that. You gotta get it in there just right. But once you do, it's good. But they do have a couple models, maybe it's just one, that are waterproof. One thing to know about these is that they're not waterproof for the most part, and that doesn't mean they don't work when wet. Go ahead and hike with this thing in the rain. It will work. I hiked through the rain with these a number of times, and when they get wet, they still will work. The thing to always remember and to consider is, because these let moisture in, they will keep that moisture inside of your headlamp and will rust and corrode the batteries and can ruin the headlamp. So when using this headlamp, if you do go out and it does get wet, when you come back to camp or you get back home, open it up, pull the batteries out, you know, dry it up a little bit, or, you know, you can even store it on your shelf open so that it'll, you know, dry out, because the batteries will corrode and stuff inside there will start to rust. That's what happened to my old one. I had to use sandpaper, clean it all up. I got it to work. But either way, they will work when wet, but you should always make sure that you dry them out before you store them. Now, this is going to be maybe controversial to some of you guys, but for me, this is the one and the biggest con for me with Black Diamond headlamps, and that is the strap. This strap adjusts so super easy. Look at that. Boom. Adjusted it. I have a tiny head. Well, actually, I have a big head. So boom. Adjust it so you have a big head. And it seems like it's pretty easy. And it is. But what happens is, all right, now I've got that adjusted to where it'll probably work. Take off the hat. Got it adjusted where it'll probably work. Oh, that is just perfect right there. Take it off and it stays pretty good. But if you're pulling it out of your pack, this thing is very easy to catch, and when you pull it, it'll loosen right up. So because it adjusts so easily, I found myself every time having to readjust the headlamp to where it fit. It's not, I know it's not a big deal, and most people are going to be like, who cares if it doesn't, you know, if you have to adjust it every time. I think it would be nice if this was a little bit more difficult to adjust, so it's like, all right, yeah, I got it where I want it, and then it stayed there, and you actually had to, maybe it's a clamp or something, and you had to fit it to adjust it, because this thing can really easily, you pull it out of your pack and it gets caught, next thing you know, it's really big, and you got to go back through and adjust it to your head, and just a little bit of an inconvenience. I actually, on mine, I have it taped up, so it is a quick fix. Get it to where you want it and tape it. That's a suggestion. Because, I mean, it really does adjust a little bit too easy for me. Alright, just to finish it off, we're going to talk about this headlamp in particular, you know, because this video's been a little bit about just general headlamps, you know. But for this one, for the price, it's good. It's not quite as bright. If you are looking for a brighter headlamp, this is probably not the headlamp for you. There's there's a lot of other options that Black Diamond have that are going to be higher lumens. So if you're looking for a real bright headlamp for something other than hiking, where you really need to be able to either see a long distance or something, this probably isn't the right one for you. But if you're using it for a hiking purpose, I think this headlamp, it's got all the features that you need, and it works really well. And for on REI now, it's $20. I think normally it was like 28 or 30, I'm not sure. But for the price, it's a really nice headlamp. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my review of the Black Diamond Cosmo. Good headlamp. If you're looking for one, not a bad option at all. Go out and get yourself a headlamp. But for now, this headlamp has to go to... Oh, shit! That took a long time. Not only did I have to search around and pick them up, I had to count them to make sure I had them all. I could usually spin that when it was the piece of paper in there, but now that I have these fancy new little chips for everybody, they fly everywhere. Alright guys, and like always, it's time for the raffle. If you're new to this series and these review raffles, check out the Patreon page right here, somewhere in this area. Click on this link, or the link will be in the description, and you can get yourself involved in every one of these raffles for $1 a month, or as little as $1 a month. You can be entered in every single raffle. We're doing about 4 raffles each month. So for $12 a year, get you into 48 raffles and all sorts of different hiking gear. So get on over to the Patreon page and check it out. But without further ado, it is time to raffle off the Black Diamond Cosmo headlamp. And the winner is... Number, what is it? Number 27. Holy cow. Number 27 is Adrian Redgewell. No way. Holy cow. Adrian, you just won yourself a headlamp. Congratulations. And by the time you watch this video, it is on its way to you. Wow, that makes me really happy, guys. Adrian has been such a great help for the series in spreading the word and stuff. To have him actually be drawn is really cool. So, there you have it, guys. That is my review and raffle of the Cosmo Black Diamond headlamp. I hope so very much that you've enjoyed this video. But remember, these videos are just my opinion. And if you don't like it, you can go take a hike. Bye-bye. Stinking always gotta send stuff to that Canada in. Canadian. Adrian Redgewell.